Let me say that again. But before we get started, man, let's like the live stream, okay? We're gonna end up talking about some very, very good things. We're gonna end up talking about some very, very good things. And if you guys know, like at all, like we've actually been predicting this very, very good, okay? Ever since 2022, we called the bottom. Ever since every single dip, we told you back to all time highs. 2023 dip, 2024 dip, the tariff dip, the dip that we have right now, the Iran war dip, etc. Every single dip we talked about has came out to be absolutely true. Okay, it's just came out to be absolutely true to what we talked about. I believe this one is gonna be no different. It's gonna be no different. Okay, just based on a few things we're gonna talk about, and I don't plan on holding you guys up for too long tonight. Okay, so like the live, like let's get to 1K because a lot of people are not talking about what's gonna end up happening in these coming days to months. Okay, a lot of people just want to talk about what's happening on the day or what's happening next, the next coming day or whatever it may be. But we're coming on here and talking about what's gonna play out in these coming weeks to months, so you can have confidence, so you can have the confidence to buy a dip so you can look at a stock and be like this stuff is low, right? Because now we've gone through the trenches. Now it should just be easy. We're gonna enter into a very very easy period. Okay, if you made it out, congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. Okay, pat yourself on the back. But what's gonna end up transpiring right now? Okay, like I said, if you look at November 21st, okay, if you look at November 21st and what happened November 21st, a lot of you guys forget, but that was a very deep pullback that we had. I actually want to draw the percent just so we can get November 21st. This is the pullback that we had from October. That October, it was really a crypto correction. Like if you really think about it, like a lot of crypto got completely wiped out October, and the market has never really been the same. We've actually been in a very long consolidation on the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. Now, what do I mean by that? If you look at the Nasdaq, okay, ever since what November, I would say like November, September, really, but really this huge red candle that you see right here, which is October 6th, that October correction, we've really just been in a huge consolidation period. Okay, from here to all the way where we're at right now, 168 days. This is consolidation. Okay, this is consolidation. This is consolidation. Now, what was happening prior to that was an easy market, okay? And I believe we're going to return to this easy market. We're going to see another huge leg to the upside. A lot of people think we're going to come down to the downside. Maybe we, come maybe to 570, but fear not. Fear not. Another all-time high is coming, okay? But when you look at what's been happening for the past 160 days, almost half a year, we've been really sitting here consolidating. That's why I said pat yourself on the back if you've been making it through, if you've been getting into these little scouts, you've been getting into these little trades in the Discord, yada yada yada. But what's to come on the other side is just straight easy money. Okay, like what we had the April tariff did when we begged you to buy it down here, easy money all the way up. We're gonna have another easy money all the way back up, and then I believe a huge correction, a huge recession, a huge yada 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 is gonna happen. And when we're going to the upside, we're going to see everybody turn super, super bullish, okay? Super, super bullish. Recessions do not happen when everyone's bearish, okay? Recessions do not happen when the majority of people think the market is going to come down, okay? But it's not going to come down. We're going to end up going to make a new all-time high, okay? So when you look at what has transpired for 168 days, huge consolidation. And this consolidation has been taking place since October, like I said, okay? You can look right here, October 6th, all right? Now, if you come over here and look at the fear and greed index, really we topped November 21st. This means a lot of people were in the puts. This means a lot of people were bearish on the markets. Okay, a lot of people were bearish, and then what ended up happening is we turned straight bullish all the way through December 15th, and really all this was bullish, and now we're getting another correction because of the Iran war, because of consolidation, whatever it may be. It's really the Iran war. Okay, so now you come over here and look at IWM, and a lot of people think the market's bearish, and I just don't think so. Like I think the market is bullish. When you look at what happened October 20th, like we just talked about, through November 21st, right, where it was bearish, like the market was briefly bearish, and we went down 9% on IWM, and I'm looking at small caps because that's where money is rotating into, right? Money's rotating into small caps. Money's going to end up rotating into crypto. We all know this. You can look at the chart, very strong. 9% correction down to November 21st. And then what we had after that is we just had a straight up 229 all the way to 269. Okay? Very bullish. Now what we have is another brief pullback due to the war, really. And what is going to end up transpiring, I believe, is just pure easy mode because it's the same exact setup. We have now peaked March 20th. Okay, I believe this. I believe we bottomed. I believe we could have bottomed. We could have bottomed. We could have bottomed. Okay, and I'm not calling the bottom. Okay, but I believe we could have bottomed. I think the markets have bottomed. Okay, of course we'll be able to see. Okay, I just believe we're gonna get to all-time highs. I don't know if we bottomed. It's very hard to call bottoms. I just think a new all-time high is coming. Okay, but 0.92. Now we're getting this huge fall off a cliff, kind of like what we got right here, the other correction that we saw November 21st. Okay, and this is why if you're hoping that the market is bearish, you might be very wrong right here. You might be very wrong right here. Not only this, on the weekly, we're seeing huge weekly hidden divergence. Okay, huge weekly. You guys knew this was coming. We're seeing some huge weekly hidden divergence. Okay, this means this is hidden bullish divergence. Price is making a higher low. This is making a lower low. RSI is completely reset. Just beautiful. Just beautiful things happening in the markets right now. I think the markets look amazing. I don't think enough people are even positioned for what's to come. Positioned for what's to come. So I want to look at some small caps. I want to look at some stocks that you guys want to look at. Put in the comments what stocks you guys want to look at, and we'll look at them. Okay. We shall look at some of these stocks. I think there should be some great discounts out there. Why? Because it's early. The move is early, and we don't want to be on the late spectrum. Okay, we don't want to short. You know, like you could be bearish. Like it makes sense you're bearish up here. Like okay, like all right, we did make, but being bearish kind of like right here is kind of like you kind of missed. I don't know. Anyways, let's look at some stocks, man. Tesla, Kava, bottom in, perhaps. Perhaps the stuff that I'm looking at. It looks like perhaps. And what's to come, I believe, is IWM to 300. To 300. We're going to get IWM to 300, okay? At least back up to this trend. And I know. How sad is it going to be when we get IWM 300 and these stocks are mooning? But anyways. RBRK. Let's look at TXN. Let's look at TXN because TXN looks very, very good. And like I said, a lot of these stocks were early. And when you're early, you're able to get some very good discounts like TXN. And if you look at TXN, it literally came inside of the buying area. It came inside the buying area. There's no better place to look for TXN than inside this buying area. I mean, 181 would have been perfect. Like, of course, I wish I would have got it at 185 last week. But this is the buying area for something like TXN. And even if you look at it on a monthly time frame, looks really good. But the main thing that I'd be focusing on is to make sure that it starts trading above, right? Above where it keeps rejecting from, which is right here. Okay, that's just obvious. So it needs to back above 200. And then you can start getting some moves to, and like you can clearly see that's a big rejection. So you want to move this up a little bit. 201, and then you can start seeing 204, right? So I'd mainly be seeing what this does above 198, or I'd be looking for a nice dip buy at around 191, and that'd probably be where I'd like it the most, at a nice dip buy around 191. So I'm not buying at a reject. I'd be waiting for it to come up and be safe above here, or buy this dip around here. Okay. So it's in no man's land right now. Okay, it's in no man's land. It's not even. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good in terms of it needs to. You're not buying down here. You're buying at a rejection. So I'd rather wait for it to buy something right here. Maybe even short it. Maybe you get a nice little put play. Who knows? But I think markets are bullish. So I don't know. Let's look at Marvel. Oh my goodness. Very bullish. Very, very bullish. Very bullish. Okay. Now the main thing and why Marvel keeps rejecting is if you come over here, Marvel it keeps rejecting at where you're seeing it right now. So if you can get a weekly close above 97, And then next week it starts trending above 97 as well. This thing is ready to go back to all-time highs, which is around 127. Okay, it keeps rejected here back in December, and then it's trying again right here, right? So you want to see this trade above $97 for it to really start getting to 197. Then you can really even see this 196, etc. I like what Marvel is doing. Now, obviously, like I said, it needs to stay above $96 because if not, that's where it keeps rejecting at. The reason it keeps rejecting right there is because that's the main level. Like that's the biggest level before this starts going back to all-time highs. Okay? I like it. I like it. I like it. Let's look at Tesla. Oracle. You still like SMCI? Let's look at Tesla. But SMCI, I actually think SMCI is due for a squeeze. If you look at the revenue, like, okay, now you got the scammer out, right? You got the guy, you got the scammer out, and a lot of people want to sit here and short this, okay? And I actually was very bullish on this heading into this week because, like, a lot of people want to short this because of, what they, the scam or whatever. But what you have to realize is that the revenue that they're doing and the fact that it came down, they have a $12 billion revenue. And this is a $14 billion market cap stock. It was really $12 billion like yesterday. Okay, so to me, I think this is actually a very, very good dip buy, and a lot of people are overreacted during this dip. Okay, so yes, I still like SMCI, and I would actually buy equity. I'd buy equity. But I do want to look at Tesla. Okay. Nothing's really happening, okay? Never mind. I don't really want to look at Tesla because nothing is really, nothing is really happening. We are seeing some very nasty hidden weekly divergence right here. So I will say that, and this is actually the first hidden weekly divergence that we've seen in a very long time. So from here to here. So like I said, I think the markets are raging bull. Okay, so I wouldn't look, man. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say yes, we're gonna end up seeing something like this. Okay? Has Tesla bottomed? We'll see. But I do think it's bullish. It's just really stuck in a huge consolidation period. So I don't want to give too much. I don't want to look at it too hard or too much. I don't want to look at it too hard or too much. Okay? Put in the comments what stocks you guys want to look at. We shall look at them. Bro read my stock but ignored it. What was the stock? RBRK? Come on, dog. Come on, my dog. Do we like Tesla at 350? I don't think it gets to 350, but yeah, I like Tesla at 350. I just don't think it gets there. I think the market is I think a lot of people are gonna be surprised at what's gonna end up happening, okay? I really do. I think markets are bullish. I think they look bullish. They look bullish. And a lot of people want to be bearish because of, now I will say, there is going to be a time to be bearish, but I just don't think it's right now. If you look at RBRK, this is complete garbage. Now, I don't know what they do. What is this, rubric? I don't know what they do, so I can't say for sure, but this isn't anything that I want to get into, mainly because they IPO'd in 2024, and they haven't had a bullish trend, ever. So, I'm not even gonna look at this, man. I don't know. I'd rather not. Now, they did have that nice tariff buy in 2025 April tariffs, but after that, this thing has just been completely downhill. I think this is gonna end up going lower just by looking at it because it's a newer stock. So they're kind of hard to look at. I don't want to look at Path. Path is sitting there consolidating. Do we have any where are the good stocks at, man? Where are the good stocks at? Now NBIS is at a very, very critical spot. Okay, the reason it's at a critical spot because it is now retesting the level that it needs to hold above in order to start retesting all-time highs, which is around 142. I like NBIS. They have a lot of partnerships. Nvidia, I think even Meta is getting with them. They have very, very good partnerships. And I picked this one over Iron, right? I think this is going to be a better one than we know this is a scam stock. If you mess with IREN, right? We told you this is a victim stock at 63, went all the way down to 30. So if you're looking at NBIS, this is a very, very important week for it because next week could be nuclear if it closes looking something like this. Okay, I think next week could be very, very huge for it. Um, bullish, bullish, very bullish, very, very bullish. But like I said, it needs to close above where you keep seeing it retest from every single day. It keeps sitting here retesting, retesting, retesting. So it needs to have a weekly close above 114. Um, what's happening with RR, man? SoFi, we have to look at SoFi. This is garbage. This is garbage, man. But like I said, I believe a very euphoric market is coming. Okay, this could get a very nice pop to the upside. It could, but I don't want to sit here and like let's look at some real stocks. Let's not no penny stocks. 487 million. Like this is cool, way back when, and we knew it was gonna get to $7 and end up rejecting $7 because that is the party start level. That's the level it really needs above to get back above all time highs, right? Like we saw that coming like a long time ago. So I want to look at some real stocks. What is Roblox doing? Garbage. And I actually liked Roblox, but now it's like, eh. They got all these child predator stuff. Like, nah, man. Like, they're like they have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of headlines right now, so I don't really want to pay attention to it too much. Let's look at Robinhood. I like Robinhood, and this monthly close is very, very bullish. And this is what I mean, man. The markets are looking. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like, I wish I could sit. I wish I could come in here and say something look bearish right here. Like, just the markets don't look bearish. Robinhood's about to put in a monthly hidden bull divergence this month. This candle, if it closes looking like this, which the monthly candles, and I can't wait for the monthly candle closes on Tuesday, I believe. But I'll be live Sunday, and I think we'll be able to see a lot of the monthly closes. So maybe the live on Wednesday. But a lot of these monthly candles are gonna be very, very important to tell us what's gonna end up happening with April and etc. So I actually like this candle close a lot on something like Robinhood because this is a bullish reversal candle that is printed on a monthly time frame, matched with some bullish hidden divergence. So when I usually see this candle, I usually see a big old green candle after, which matches up with what I believe is going to end up happening with crypto. And I think crypto is going to have a massive boost here soon because of what I tell you guys every single live is where we have the oil. We had gold, right? Gold went absolutely nuclear this cycle. Then we had oil. Oil went absolutely crazy. Now we're going to end up getting a Bitcoin crypto super cycle like we've seen with all these markets, Bitcoin and the Nasdaq and smaller caps, higher risk assets. I think that is the next thing. That is the early thing to be on. Like a lot of people want to get on the late oil train, right? A lot of people wanted to hop onto the late gold train. We told you to short gold. Oil, I think, is going to be an opportunity to short here soon. But the next wave that's going to end up happening is crypto. He said wrong. AI is next. AI is not next. AI has been this whole entire cycle. Okay, that's why you saw Meta. That's why you see all like, come on, bro. So sure that's not really next. It's kind of like a known thing. Okay, but what people don't know is that I believe crypto is going to get rotated into heavily. Okay, market's finna be flat this year. I don't think so. I don't think so. Coin, and even if they're flat, like you get volatility on a daily basis. It's not like the market's flat, it's not like you're getting volatility. Okay, we're getting into photonics stocks like AAOI calls like yesterday, and these went up over like 3,000%. Like we got them at $35. They went to 800 per. Okay, the next day. So there's stocks that are going crazy. Okay, there's always money to be made in a market if you know what you're talking about. Nobody's talking about these stocks, man. Like nobody said, "Hey, yo, look at AAOI." Nobody said, "Yo, look at AXTI," right? Which we got in the equity at around $17, $20. Okay, so there's money to be made. Unless your whole portfolio, unless your whole thing you're looking at is some Mag 7, all you're looking at is Microsoft, right? Right? Hymns, coin. Let's look at coin because, like I said, AI agents, okay? AI agents. And a lot of people are getting blindsided. A lot of people are forgetting about it. Okay, and this will probably be the last point we talk about tonight. Like Circle, I still think is good, and we got like the Clarity Act. They took out like the crypto yields or something like that you would get from stablecoins. So obviously Circle took a hit. But the bigger idea of all that is that AI agents are gonna prefer using stablecoins or USDC or crypto, etc., whatever it may be, and they're predicted to outpace, I think, all humans or something like that. Like there's gonna be more AI agents than humans or something like that, and they're just gonna be using USDC or whatever it may be. So that's the bigger thing, and the Clarity Act is obviously coming to fruition. But I told you guys to wait for this to get to 187, 186, and now it actually looks like it's rejecting this level. Okay, last time we went live, I believe was, I think Sunday or Wednesday, and we, like I said, I wouldn't be buying it up here. This is the rejection level. You really want to wait for this to come to 187. It is now at 187, and now I still would not be getting into it unless it closes back above 187. But it looks like it's actually rejecting on the 4 hour each and every time it gets to 187. So I actually think this can go lower to maybe 168. Okay, I think 168 is a good buying area for something like coin. Okay, and yes, it is. It's not really putting in a monthly hidden divergence just yet. So like I said, I'd wait for this to get to 168 and see what it does there. I think it's still a short, as well as with Circle, and that's what I mean. Is the Iran war over? Okay, I think that's the most important thing to be asking ourselves this live, like, because Donald Trump obviously is saying he they're in talks, yada yada yada, but Iran is saying the opposite. Like they haven't even talked to bro. Like they don't even know what he's talking about. So I still think oil could be a decent trade, um, as well as like I said, he's gonna pay out. He paid out the people in gold. We saw how crazy gold went, and I don't think, I don't think oil has actually had that euphoric period just yet. And by euphoric, I mean right now California gas is at what, $7. If it gets above $10, that will be that euphorium I'm talking about. Okay, like where memes are being made. Okay, we saw the gold euphoria happen because dozens, like tens of billions of views were on gold memes. Okay, so I don't think oil has got there yet. That's why I'm saying, maybe we could, I'm not saying, that's why it's hard, to say the bottom, but we're looking at some of this stuff, and it does look bullish, and there's a lot to be, there's a lot that still hasn't developed. Okay, there's a lot that still hasn't developed. All about defense stocks. Yeah, I mean, he said, "Dang, I'm late to the live. Can you stay on for another hour?" Planet, like, let's look at SoFi. My boy Keith want to look at SoFi. We're gonna look at SoFi. Um, this is the buying area, and this is the buying area that we've had for SoFi. Okay, this is 1680, 1682. Okay, but I will say, okay, this needs a lot to happen. Like the market needs a big reversal because this hasn't even been bullish, even with IWM actually holding the line fairly well. And that's just because Robinhood hasn't been doing well, and those stocks haven't been doing that great. So I still like SoFi. Now, of course, you guys know we were buying at $9. We rode all the way to 32. I still think it can actually get to 44, but this is the level that it needs to do something at. Okay, and the reason being, this is making a huge, 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 huge hidden bullish divergence on a weekly time frame. Okay, it is now retesting the high that we saw back in January 2025. Okay, so the next leg needs to be now, which it kind of matches up with everything that we're looking at, right? Like IWM is hidden weekly divergence. What we talked about on the fear and greed, where in November this topped out and had a huge downslide, and like that ended up marking this right here, right? Like we talked, like this was the November through the downside, and then we had that huge all-time high move, and so the same thing could potentially be playing out right here, where we had this almost got the tariff, April tariff highs. Okay, and some of you guys remember, like that was the most bearish time in my opinion, like April tariffs, or those tariffs that he kept implementing on those countries because it was brand new. Like it was, he just got to be the president, and now he's putting in all these tariffs. Like that was the peak of bearishness, and we got all the way to one, right? I think this is, and now we're at 0.92, and that's highly, highly bearish considering, like, we know he's taco, like we know there's a deal gonna be had, etc. So the effects aren't gonna be that much of a ripple. Do you understand? Like a lot of people think that the ripple, a lot of people think that the war ripple is gonna be as big as the April tariff lows, or where this thing dumped bigly. But you got to realize this was when he was new. Like he was like, bro, like he came in and just started doing stuff, and now we've had a whole year where he's done the same exact things time and time again, and each one has gotten bought up, each one has came out with a deal, each one has been reversed, etc. So a lot of people are expecting a 24% dump because of the Iran war and because they don't have a deal. But you got to remember, like this is a completely new case. We've seen what he's done every single time there's been some sort of conflict. So that's the main thing. But anyways, let's look at EQT. IWM can hit 240 and bounce for there, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not doubting it. Like it really could. It really could. Like it could. It could, right? I mean, I think this was. I think this was very bearish, and it was even bearish in February 19th. Like this, these were huge bearish moments, huge. To get to 0.92 or to 1, like the peak of April tariffs, insane. You got to put that into perspective. All right, but EQT, I knew this was something to do with oil. I'm not interested. I think like I'm not interested. Okay, these things are gone, and they don't move that well. Like they consolidate a lot on a daily time frame to the upside. So I'm not that interested in it. But I can see like if you are, like it look good. Toast. Let's get toast. My boy Tony here, man. Let's look at toast. Garbage. Garbage. Like garbage. It never got to the party start level, okay? It got to the party start level. And this is why these levels are so important. Look at this. 48.10. It got to 48.10 dumped, okay? It needs above that level in order to start retesting all-time highs. Alright. And we're at 19, you're right. Fear and greed is at 19. Now we were at 3, those April tariffs, okay? But I don't think the war is done, okay? I really don't. To sum up the whole live, yes, I believe we're gonna get back to all-time highs. No, I don't believe the war is done. I think oil has a euphoric period that has to come. Okay, now how will that euphoric period happen? I don't know. Maybe oil going to 150 or 140, or gas prices getting insane, like $11, whatever it may be, in Cali anyway. But those are the main things I'm paying attention to. All right, there's amazing stocks to look at daily, great things to look at, and yeah. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Like this is a good live. We talked about some good things. I don't want to hold you guys up for too long tonight. Okay. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. Matter of fact, DM me after this live, and I'll hit you with a special offer. Okay, we got a special offer. Only tonight for you guys. Okay. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, man. Have a blessed night. Make sure you're patient during these times. Okay, we're getting some nappy price action. We're getting some nappy price action. You gotta lock in. Okay, you can't just sit here and be all willy nilly. Putting a large sum concentrated in 60% Nvidia, 40% AV go tomorrow. Smart long term play. If it's a long term play, I would say no. Well, if you're putting all of it in at once, I would say that's a no go. Like monthly on something like that, because I think we're gonna end up getting a lot better prices in the future, probably by the end of this year. And I think there's a lot of better longer term plays that you can get into right now. Like we got like AXT, like Phototonics. If you don't know about Phototonics, like we added like AXT. This is the only equity play this year. AXTI. It was at $20. Now it's at $60. So I'd be more so focused on those type of smaller cap type of plays, because these are you're kind of buying at the later end. Now I think Nvidia is going to be in much higher than it is right now, but you probably have to wait 5 to 10 years, right? Or whatever it may be. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, man. I'm out. Peace.